Good morning, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, students, scholars, sisters, sons and daughters, respected fathers and mothers, professors, professionals and officials, trainers and teachers, learners and listeners all over the world, from the world of science, religion, spirituality, commerce, arts and engineering. I, Dr. Rakesh from USA, welcome all. The Most Honorable Present Prime Minister, Saint Dr. Narendra Modi ji, by his efforts, the nation is growing, the nation is fighting, and one day will get winning, and our nation will be the victor, because we are running on the path of truth through science and spirituality. About it, Kabir ji says, O Kabir, what thou avail of sleep? Awake and let soul aspire. All thy breaths are valued deep. Spend each as Guru's desire. Only a human being can be a guru of the human beings. It is often seen that people fear to accept a man as their guru. If anybody dares to say before the people that he has faith in so and so guru or saint or Satguru or prophet, then those people try to degrade him, saying, do you believe in a human being for guru? But in whom do these interrogators believe in? See, they believe in a thing created by themselves. For example, here are peacock's feathers. In my hand, someone has collected these and wrapped these with a piece of cloth and has stitched it. If the same person who has done this all begins to bow his head before it and says, you are my God, then how does it behave? How strange it would look. He gives the status of master or God to a thing arranged by himself. Anything which you can create can never be designated as your master. To consider such like man-made things as God is not the right way. God is one who has evolved all the souls and has created the entire universe. Had you the power to create him, then you would have created numerous gods. Then every man could have distributed one god to each of his children. O brothers, it is most inappropriate and ridiculous to call a man-made articles as God. Some people ask why the man accept a man as his guru. It is for your kind information that all the holy books, Granths, have been written by the great men for the devotees of God. Please let us know whether they came to this world as a human being or in the body of animals or birds, etc. What were they? They were in the form of human body. All the knowledge which has been imparted to man was provided so only by the human beings. But a few persons still are not ready to listen to a human being of his time or accept him as a guru. If someone says that an exceptional and extraordinary she goat has become God, then the superstitious persons follow it to have its milk in the faith as if it is God. But it can never happen so. So God has to come in this world. He would come at least in the form of a human being, so that he may tell us something about spiritualism. Considering man made things as God is not the right path for the devotion of the Almighty and for achieving redemption. We all have come here from that eternal place. Let us talk clearly. What is our aim? What is the purpose? First of all, what is the truth? I have already told you that truth is God, who never changes, means He is eternal and everlasting. The spiritual saints had disclosed this truth hundreds of years ago. Today's men, the scientists, have now come to know that the changes are really undergoing even inside the sun and other planets. But this phenomena had been explained by the saints centuries ago, that except for God, every other thing is changing with the passage of time. When compared, whose scientific knowledge is advanced, that of the scientists or of the spiritual saints? Of course, that of the spiritual saints. How? This has already been made clear to you on the basis of scientific and spiritual arguments. Truth is God, and wealth or business is his meditation, without any hypocrisy and selfishness. The God's meditation is called the true business of soul. Neither your religion and nor the political party to which you belong is changed here, because this true trade does not mean adoption of a new religion or of a new political party. The only thing you are asked to give up is the evil deeds. You are to deal in truth only means you should remember God by reciting His words. This is what trade actually means. You are supposed to deal in truth in every breath of yours, but you are dealing only in such things which will not accompany your soul in the end. Selfless service, the supreme holy devotion. The selfless person who live in this true trade, they do hard labor in the fields for the service of humanity. A press reporter came to me and said, "Hey Father, spiritual master, it is very good on your part that you do not take any money or donation from anyone. I have seen that you are accepting or allowing the selfless physical service in your institution. In my opinion, to accept money or selfless physical labor is one and the same thing. I have seen devotees supplying water, serving food, and also doing some other physical work here. Through these might be for the welfare of humanity." I asked him, "How is it similar?" Listen, suppose a thief brings 30,000 of rupees by robbing others or by any other evil means of earning and says, "Take this in the name of God." Now it is separate thing that God is omniscient and so is a perfect saint. People in general do not know this fact about the spiritual saints. People cannot ascertain whether this money has been given by a right person or a wrong one. On the other hand, one is doing hard labor and serving selflessly before the eyes of the people. Don't you see the difference between the two? Isn't there a significant difference? Service in the form of money may have some impurity or adulteration, but service in the form of physical work or hard labor can never be impure. It is always pure and supreme because everything is done before the eyes of the people, and secondly, it is absolutely without any personal motive. For example, each and every person here is working for the good of one and all and not for any personal interest. He is serving you all willingly without any outside compulsion or pressure. He is not paid for it. Is he doing anything for his own family when he is serving you? Will he raise buildings for them? No, not at all. Then what does he gain from this? This mystery is only known to him. You can ask him. Its reward is felt by him only from his insight. The joy or happiness provided to him by God as a reward of his selfless service to humanity and his creation can never be enjoyed even by the aristocrats and the millionaires. Then what are the objectives of the true saints or true spiritual master? Now the point comes, what is our objective? Our aim to come here is to end the hatred, turmoil, opposition and quarrels which are increasing day by day. We want that every individual should have a feeling of love and brotherhood. And once again, there should be an ocean of love in the world. There should be no hatred or destruction. This is our objective. We are here to lift up the humanity, which is degrading day by day, and also to make the people aware of the truth. Some people ask me the question as to from which source the institution is meeting its expenditure when we do not take any donation or charity. Human mind is always ready to find faults with others, may there be any one or not. People say that we don't take even a penny in the form of alms or gifts from anyone. Then where from we manage this vast establishment of this institution? The man is in a habit of asking only those persons to whom he gives nothing. He does not ask those whom he pays directly and never ask them to account for the collection so made. Let me tell you about the source of our income. There is an institution. The institution owns about 500 acres of land. So many devotees and followers are there. Those who work physically hard and mentally also. Previously there were high sand dunes at the same place, about 15 feet in height, which were leveled by them, and you can come to that place anytime and see it yourself. They now have planted different type of fruits, trees, and that land is now covered with gardens. Different types of crops are also grown there. Thus the production of crops by selfless and hard labor of these persons, devotees, is the source of income with which the expenses of the institution are met with by the grace of God. This facility of food provided to you and expenditure on all the vehicles have been provided by the institution, and in this way whole service is being rendered for the sake of humanity. We advise these followers to work hard and remember God while at work. They do agriculture practices with their hands and remember God in their thoughts or by their tongues. They serve God and humanity side by side. Both these works are equally beneficial to them. You are seeing these people who are playing on musical instruments. Perhaps you might be considering them as the members of some musical party or music party, but it is not so. Most of them are followers, believers, devotees. Now you will be thinking that they should wear some peculiar dress typical of hermits if they are the true believers. No, there is no place for hypocrisies and pretensions. I have told you that nothing lies in hypocrisy. I do not believe in such things. We don't preach and allow any kind of hypocrisy to these true believers nor to our followers. They are advised to serve the children of God and remember Him as much as possible. Whether you agree or not, it is up to you, but I assure you that the production of 1 acre land of the institution brought about by these true believers equals your production of many acres. You should come to that place and see with your own eyes. If you don't believe in, I have already told you that as what type of land that was. More so, you will derive a great pleasure when you see the work going on practically. Therefore, the sacred earnings of the true believers are the source of this institutional income. There are so many persons, those who are respected here, they also work physically, mentally for the welfare of humanity, which is the true aim of the institution. Ultimately, there are so many kinds of charities and donations a man have in his life. What is the invaluable gift? The facts about organ donation. The invaluable gift. Organ and tissue donation is a great humanitarian act. It can provide the gift of better health, eyesight, or even life itself to a fellow human being. In a letter, one person who received a kidney wrote simply, "I am awed by your generosity at such a difficult time. The need is great. Why donations are so important? Thousands of people in India die every year because their heart or kidneys have been badly damaged by disease. More than 2 million Indians, mostly children, suffer from blindness because of a damaged cornea. Technology has made amazing progress, but body organs and tissues cannot be made by science. Organs cannot be bought. They must be a gift. All world religions, including Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Judaism, approve of and support organ donation, considering it an act of charity. The cost, nothing. The value, priceless. All you need to do is sign an organ donation card. Who can donate? Almost any healthy individual, young or child, can donate organs. The basics of eye donation. Eyes provide the gift of sight through corneal transplants, that is, using the clear front part of the eye surface to replace one that has become scared and cloudy. Eye donation is voluntary and costs the donor nothing. Contact the nearest eye bank to register your promise. The eye bank will provide you with an eye donation card. Carry this card with you at all times. Tell your relatives of your wish to donate your eyes. If possible, mention your wish to donate organs in your will. Eyes of a deceased person can also be donated whether or not he has placed his eyes in his lifetime. Under law, relatives of the deceased can donate his or her eyes provided he or she has never spoken against eye donation. Eyes should be removed by medical personnel within 6 hours of death. The basics of other organ donation. Organ donation is voluntary and costs the donor nothing. Get a donor card from your local hospital and fill it out. Carry this card with you at all times. Share your decision with family members who will attend you at the time of death. If possible, mention your wish to donate your organ in your will. A living person can donate a kidney as only one kidney is needed for the donor to live a normal life. Part of the liver as the part left behind can make up for the loss and the donor continues to lead a normal life. Bone marrow, as bone marrow is always regrowing and lets the donor lead a normal life. The following organs can be used immediately after death: both eyes, both kidneys, heart with or without lungs, pancreas, liver, the whole body for important research by medical students. Donation of most organs happens at death when a doctor is sure that the heart has stopped finally. This is called heartbeat death. Organ donation following heartbeat death is advised. If the brain has died but the heart is still beating due to a life support machine, this is called brain death. Donation, if this happens, is not advised. Frequently asked questions. Are there any cost to the donor or his family? No. All costs are handled by the organ donation program or transplant center. What can be donated? Kidneys, liver, heart, lungs, pancreas, small intestine, corneas, bone marrow, heart valves, connective tissues and blood vessels. Will the hospital staff's efforts to save your life be lessened if it is known that you are a donor? No. The transplant team does not become involved until after the doctor is sure that all efforts to save your life have failed. What about the body after donation? The removal of organs does not change the basic appearance of the body and will not change funeral arrangements. Can you donate some organs and not others? Yes, you can decide which organs you wish to donate. Can your family meet the person who receives your organs? No. The person you help will always remain anonymous, unknown, but the family may feel comfort knowing that the organ was used to restore eyesight or health. Who can donate? Anyone over the age of 18 can donate organs. The body of a deceased person below the age of 18 can be donated only if the parents agree. Is my decision confidential? Yes, your decision is completely confidential or private. However, we advise you to tell your doctor and your family members of your wishes. Can you change your mind later? Yes, just tell your family members and tear up your card. where to donate heart and liver. In India, only one location is available for transplantation, which is the All India Institute of Medical Science, AIIMS, in New Delhi. Kidneys transplantations are performed in many hospitals in the major cities of India. Eyes, check for the nearest eye bank in your local community. Whole body, contact your nearest medical college for more information. Remember, one person can save the lives of 5 people and restore sight to 2 plus to donate. So there are different kind of donations is possible. A man may think that how can I donate, how can I do charity. So you have listened about the charity, about the donation, and this donation charity is the noblest cause, noblest work of human being, because in our ancient time, in our culture, we have heard the name of Karna. How has he sacrificed, how has he donated? The example of donation and charity. So we must remember that some part of our income, of our earning, we must spend in the social welfare, nation welfare and human welfare. If we do for humanity, then it brings back after multiplying. But we are not to expect. If we have desire, expect, then it does not bring the results. As Swami Vivekananda has explained throughout his philosophy, throughout the Vedanta philosophy, throughout the Hindu philosophy, what do they say? Do better, do greater, but do not expect retaliation. Do not expect for the reflection of the charity and donation. Then you will be happy. Then you will get unrelenting blessings and grace of God. There is no doubt, all of us we earn, we are earners, we do hard work, we are earning physically, mentally, but our aim, true aim, that will work as a bank balance. As we save money, we have invested our money in the bank, we have invested our blood in the blood bank, we have invested our organs, we have invested our organs in the organ bank. There are so many kind of saving banks we have established for saving, for downloading. We are the good downloader, we are the good savior, we are the good recorder, we are the good restorer. But for the next word, the word which is beyond to reach, invisible word, what we are doing for that word? If physically we are ready to donate the organs, it's okay. Worldly, physically and materialistically, it's okay. It's well and good if we are willing. If unfortunately we are not able to donate, we think it should be cremated, it should be buried as per the norms of our religion, as per the custom of our religion, as per the ritual of our religion, then it's also okay. But the true aim of soul is to get salvation and to see the next world, celestial world, eternal world, while living in this body. How this body will spot you if you will damage your internal organs by doing any misdeeds, by intoxication and by any other diseases. If it will spoil, if it will damage, how will you donate? Then it is impossible. So by being healthy physically, you must have the healthy organs. If your soul or spirit is not in your body, then anybody may use your internal organs. Then anybody may use. But while living, you are to think only to get that supernatural power, which is the ultimate goal, which is the ultimate aim. As Swami Vivekananda left this human body in 40 years only. He completed his journey within 40 years and he did that which is the history, which has become the history record, literature in the form of words. We study, we remind, we record. So, what is the true aim? We are to save our breaths. Breaths is like a capital we have got from the gods. These are limited, these are counted, these are recorded in the office of the God. God, who is the great recorder, great accountant, he is the accountant of accountants. He gave us after counting the breaths. What do we purchase? Where do we spend these breaths? It will be evaluated. Ultimately, it will be examined. It will be observed by himself. Then what will be the reply from our soul? No reply will be there. Then we feel shame. So for investing these breaths in the right purpose, in the right target, we continue meditate as much as we can. There is no loss. We are to die one day. Don't mind it. If our soul get unification with the supernatural power, then what is the loss? No loss. We are the most profiteer. We are the most beneficial. But before that time, before that ultimate goal of life, we have to do the greatest. As Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru has said that through the poem of Robert Frost, American Robert Frost, poet, has told, has written, the woods are lovely, dark and deep. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises miles to go before I sleep. So, emancipation and saving of soul is the true aim of our life. We must think about the next word. We are to arrange, we are to manage our breaths. We must think, we must concentrate upon our breath. How do we spend? Where do we spend? Why do we spend? And what we are getting? What benefits we are getting by spending our breath? Not only by time. We count only time where we have spent my time. No doubt time is important. Time is the most valuable factor. Time is counted everywhere. but the breath, the soul, the spirit, that is time immemorial, that death will come untimely. Nobody knows that things. So how we will merge with that supernatural power? How we will get rid from this materialistic world? How we will reach at the height of a spiritual goal, which is our true and real goal of life? Real aim, for getting the real aim, we are not to spend our lives just in imitation, but we are to be creator. We are to do something new, better, greater, nicer, finer daily in our routine. We are to count our own blessings. We are not to compare with others. Others financial, others economy, others society, others family, others life. We always count by being a foolish, by being a fool. We do not compare our present with the past. When we compare our present with our past, then we will know how many blessings and graces God has showered on us, and unrelentingly, unceasingly He is showering on us. This is the true aim, and by doing so, we will collect the true treasure of soul, and we will be the richest. Physically, socially, materialistically, we may look weak, as Bepura Shyam Asthana Ji Maharaj, who was the Shenshahon ke Shenshah, who was the Beparwahon ke Beparwa, he always used to wear tear clothes, inferior clothes, but donated, gave, distributed, handed out golden items, gold, diamond, pearls, gems, priceless things he sacrificed for the welfare of humanity. So he gave a great lesson of donation. We are to donate maximum, as much as we can. If we have only knowledge with us, then we are to distribute pricelessly. If price we are getting, then good, but if we are not getting price, that is the better. And if we are providing with knowledge, with the money, that is the best. As much as we can help the needy, downtrodden, dejected, rejected people of our society, then we will get the reward from that ultimate power. If man is criticizing you, don't mind, don't care these things, because there are 5 elements that are the evident of you: air, fire, soil, sky and water, about which Swami Vivekananda rightly has said that our body is made by 5 elements, and where there is no 5 element, there is also the existence of God, because the God's vision is everywhere. God's light, rays, ways are everywhere. So we do not think that someone should praise me, someone should admire me, someone should appreciate me, so then I will donate and then I will do social welfare kind of works. We should not think so, because man has come in this world only for the welfare of humanity, to give, not to take, because the God's nature is benefactor. So God has given his own post to the man. God has given the own virtues, own form. So must man try to devote himself, dedicate himself, as per the words of God. Thank you.